is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here on the podcast. This is episode 303, part number 1 for your Friday, December 6th, 2019. We got a lot to go over today, and the spirit of competition is in the air. AEW bounces back. NXT seems to be leveling out at where they are, and AEW beats NXT by a mere 6,000 viewers in the ratings, man. Competition is certainly real. I only wish that we had competition on Monday nights, so we didn't have to sit through 3 excruciatingly terrible hours of Monday Night Raw. Same could be said for 2 hours on Friday night with SmackDown, but we are going to go over so much in today's podcast. Speaking of competition, Johnny Mundo, Johnny Impact, Johnny Raw, Johnny SmackDown, Johnny NXT, Johnny Wrestling, John Morrison. John Morrison is back with the WWE. Where he lands, I quite frankly don't even give a shit. I do not give a shit where John Morrison lands. It is now official. John Morrison is back with the WWE, and I have absolutely no faith and no hope that John Morrison will amount to anything in this next run of his with World Wrestling Entertainment. If we have EC3, Andrade Cien Almas, Rey Mysterio, Aleister Black, Ricochet, Cedric Alexander, Humberto Carrillo, Buddy Murphy, and everybody else that should really be getting a push, Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, name them all, 95% of the roster has been underutilized. 95% of the roster has been miscast and creatively just shit on. What makes you think John Morrison is coming back to the WWE and is going to have a successful run on Raw or SmackDown? I don't understand why people are so excited. We're going to go over the real reasons why John Morrison is back with the WWE, what his future holds, and why he will ultimately be a failure in WWE. We're going to go over that today right here on the podcast. Speaking of failures, WWE 2K21, they had their budget slashed. They might not even have a game next year, which I think would be the right business decision to go with. I don't know why actually I do know why they would, but I don't understand why WWE would get into bed with these people knowing how bad 2K20 was. The budget was slashed for 2K21. Employees have already quit over WWE 2K20 because they wanted nothing to do with the failure that was this year's release. And this is news from somebody who's worked on previous games, so we'll go over that as well right here on the podcast. Update on WWE Network tier plans coming in 2020. Guys, get ready to pay more for the WWE Network. What is being reported and where they're going into the new year. WWE rehires Big Dick Johnson to their creative team. We'll go over that as well. Hopefully we don't see him back on Monday Night Raw in the way that we used to see Big Dick Johnson on Monday Night Raw. This is another waste of a move, and a move that will ultimately lead to nothing as far as quality of life on Monday Night Raw. Vince McMahon has absolutely given up on Cedric Alexander. We'll go over that. That is no surprise there. You can add his name to Humberto Carrillo, Buddy Murphy, Andrade, and Aleister Black while you're at it. We got the whereabouts of Dio Maddin. Now, there's conflicting reports about Dio Maddin. Is he going to go back to the PC and be a pro wrestler or train to be a pro wrestler? Does he want to get his hands on Brock Lesnar after that big F5 through the Raw announce table 6 weeks ago? Or is it what we all assume, and Vince McMahon does not want Dio Maddin in the position of Raw color commentator? This goes to show you that everything that Paul Heyman has done on this show has ultimately failed in the new era, or the Heyman era, of Monday Night Raw. So we'll go over that as well. And what Corey Graves said about Samoa Joe on his podcast, being that he is a color man with Michael Cole on Friday Night SmackDown. What did Corey Graves have to say about the job Samoa Joe has done filling in for Dio Maddin. So we got a lot to go over today right here on the podcast. Thank you guys so very much for joining me on Off the Script. This is episode 303. This is part number 1. This Saturday, I will be at the NYC Arena. I'm so excited in Queens. I will be there. Hog 9, House of Glory's 9-year anniversary show. It's going to be awesome. There's going to be special guests. There's going to be special surprises. The Amazing Red is coming back after the amazing year he had. Matches with Pac, matches with Will Ospreay. He'll be doing something, what? I don't know. Maybe he'll get back in the ring. Against who? I don't know. I'll be sitting there doing play-by-play with the Solid Monster, so I can't wait for that. Apparently, Master P is supposed to be in town. Apparently, Master P is supposed to be at the venue. Maybe I'll shake his hand and we'll see what goes from there, man. But Master P is supposed to be in town. We got some great matches lined up, and those who usually attend these shows, I hope to see you guys out there as I celebrate my 3rd year with House of Glory, and this is their 9-year anniversary. It should be incredible. As always, before we get into the year 2020 and our new direction kicks off, and we're going to lay everybody out in the industry, and we are going to show everybody why House of Glory is one of the best independent wrestling promotions on the face of the planet. It's going to be unbelievable. And I want you guys to be aware that this is coming. I don't put my name to anything I do not believe in. I believed in these guys, the men and women that are in House of Glory. I believed in management. I believed in Red. I believed in Brian. I believed in everybody and the work they've done. It's going to be amazing. And I know we are going to change the industry in 2020. I can't wait for that, and I'm very excited for what the new year holds. Make sure you guys follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That is on Twitter and Instagram. Do both. I would really appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. YouTube had a purge this week. Everybody took a hit. I know it sucks, but what can I do? It comes with the territory. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and turn on that bell for all notifications as well, so you guys are aware of when I do indeed upload. There's been a lot of content on the channel as of this week. If you guys missed Monday Night Raw, Off the Script Elite on Tuesday, AEW Dynamite on Wednesday, NXT on Thursday, and then Friday with SmackDown tonight, there's a ton of content, so make sure you guys go and check all of that out. I'll be here Friday and Saturday for episode 303, part 1 and 2. Sunday, I got some gaming content going up, and something that you guys... Excuse me. I'm still sick, by the way. I don't know why I'm still sick. Cough won't go away. Mucus all over the place. I hate the winter. I just want to feel better, but I'm much better going into this House of Glory show than I was the last. I couldn't even speak going into the last House of Glory show, so I'm good to go for this one. But there's a lot of content on the channel. Go check it out. Everything you guys need will be linked down below in the description. It is all right there for you. Easy access. Make sure you guys support the podcast on Patreon, patreon.com/JD from NY206 if you guys want to show some extra appreciation for what I do right here on the channel. And the podcast is brought to you guys by the one, the only, Harry's, harrys.com/script. You guys know what to do, man. They got their holiday gift set, and Harry's is making the holiday giving season very easy on you, and all you guys have to do is use our unique link, harrys.com/script. What guy in your life are you guys shopping for this holiday season? Is it your dad? Is it your uncle? Is it your grandfather? Maybe your best friend, right? Now, how many times do you guys see guys in your life, or guys in general, get the most cliche gifts for the holiday season that is imaginable? You know, socks, underwear, t-shirts, slippers, a wallet. That's not what I look for when I look for Christmas and I look for a gift. Those are boring gifts. I got something that is going to be not only thoughtful, but practical, and something that guy in your life is actually going to use. Harry's. Harrys.com/script. Now, I've been using Harry's for about 3 years. I absolutely love it. It's the closest shave that I've ever had. I've never cut myself using any of Harry's products. And I love the simple fact that when I glide that blade over my skin, and my skin is sensitive, it gives me not only the closest shave, but the most comfortable shave possible. Listeners of my show can get $5 off any Harry shave set by heading to harrys.com/script. Guys, you guys have until December 16th to get free shipping, so act now. It's a practical gift that he'll actually use. Harry's makes sharp, durable blades that last, German-engineered and award-winning, backed by a 100% quality guarantee. So if he doesn't love his shave, you guys are going to get a full refund. It's a great deal for you and him. Holiday sets start at $20, and that's within Secret Santa limits. If you guys got Secret Santa going on at the office, Harry's makes a great Secret Santa gift. Harry's blade refills are as low as $2, so your guy will save money over time. It comes ready to gift in a handsome gift box, and your gift actually gives back as well. 1% of each sale will be donated to charitable organizations. Now, as a special offer for fans of Off the Script, we've partnered with Harry's to give you guys $5 off any shave set, including their limited edition holiday sets when you go to harrys.com/script. Plus, remember, you guys are going to get that free shipping up until December 16th. Each Harry's shave set comes with a weighted handle, and it comes with the option to engrave 5-blade razor cartridges, foaming shave gel for a rich lather, travel cover to protect your blades, packaged in, again, a handsome holiday gift box. Guys, make the holiday season easy on yourselves. Free shipping ends December 16th. Act now, harrys.com/script, and give the gift of Harry's this holiday season. As always, man, let's talk first and foremost about the ratings. The ratings, everybody's got an opinion about the ratings. AEW, Raw, NXT. Everybody made a big deal about the ratings last week for Thanksgiving Eve, when AEW dropped to their lowest rating ever since their debut on October 2nd. And I was one of the more logical people. Usually I'm one of the more angrier people. I was one of the more logical people in the community to say, why are we talking about this? It's Thanksgiving Eve. There are so many different variables as to why AEW had their lowest rating ever. And NXT was coming off the Survivor Series and a TakeOver War Games show that had Saturday with just whatever happened there. Sunday, NXT won the Survivor Series. They beat Raw and SmackDown. And the reason why they were put into the Survivor Series, and it makes me wonder, just think about this for a second. I love throwing this out there to everybody. Imagine if NXT wasn't in the Survivor Series, how bad that show would have been, how bad the build would have been, how worse the build would have been, because the build was terrible. NXT was put into the Survivor Series for one reason and one reason only, the AEW effect. They wanted them to get momentum going into the Wednesday Night Wars. And it's exactly what happened. Everything paid off for Triple H. Everything paid off for Vince. It's exactly what they had in mind, and their risk yielded reward. So you really can't fault them for that. So come Wednesday, coming off the Survivor Series, everybody went back to their own little playground, right? Raw had to stay on Raw. SmackDown had to stay on SmackDown. NXT had no Seth Rollins or Becky Lynch or Ricochet show up on Wednesday night. It was just NXT. But they were coming off that Survivor Series win on Sunday. So clearly and obviously they were going to have still that momentum going into Wednesday's show. Now, AEW had a show where they hyped the shit out of it, and it ended up being disappointing. It did not deliver. It was one of the worst shows that they've done so far in their young 11-week stretch. And I'm not afraid to admit that. A lot of people actually agreed with me. But Thursday is Thanksgiving. Wednesday usually for bars, for people who are the majority audience for NXT and AEW, youngsters, unless you're 50 plus watching NXT, which I still find to be incredibly bizarre, how that is the number one demographic for them. But Wednesday is one of the biggest drinking nights of the year. You guys travel, you guys go back home to spend time with your family, you go back home, you spend time with your family, you hit up your old high school buddies, you go and have a couple of drinks and you hang out. And these are people that you haven't seen for the entirety of the year. So what would you rather do? Go out and drink a cold beverage or sit home and watch pro wrestling on a Wednesday night by yourself? I think I'm going to take option A. There's a lot of variables as to why AEW did the rating that they did, and NXT did the rating that they did. Everybody was looking at it, oh, I hope AEW fails. I can't wait till WWE and Vince kill AEW for good. They're not needed. They're a cancer to the pro wrestling industry. They haven't ushered in real change. This is all I heard. And these are simple-minded buffoons. They don't know a goddamn fucking thing about anything. Don't even know how they're fucking breathing. But at the end of the day, it's NXT won for the second straight week, and AEW needed to get their shit together. Now, we got Wednesday's show, and they came out intense. They came out with a beautiful sense of urgency. NXT had a show that was slightly weaker than the one that they put on previously, but everything is building towards December 18th now. December 18th is the last show of the year for both AEW and NXT. So they're building towards championship matches, big feuds, putting people like Jungle Boy over. We got a Texas Tornado street fight with Proud and Powerful and the Young Bucks. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. So that is the next day that we're looking at to mark on our calendars about real head-to-head competition, the next hyped show on Wednesday night. Now, as far as the ratings this week, AEW, like I said, came out with a sense of urgency. They really had a great show going into Wednesday, and they delivered. And the ratings proved it. They narrowly beat NXT in the ratings by just 6,000 viewers. 6,000 viewers. And it's a victory that is kind of marginalizing both NXT and AEW, and everybody's kind of resting on where they're going to be as far as the ratings. So this is exactly where AEW and NXT are going to be as far as the ratings go. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Everybody's like, oh, well, they're not really gaining new eyes, and they're not. They're not gaining new eyes. They're not gaining new ears. They're not generating any new viewers, right? Maybe NXT's generating some new viewers with that Survivor Series build, but AEW is not generating any new viewers. And the simple fact is, neither show has hit that million yet. And I don't know how people look at that. I don't really consider that a make or break situation. As long as they are marginalized and at a certain level like they were this week, and they continue that moving forward, I think we'll be fine. I honestly think we'll be fine with the ratings. Now, the ratings for both shows, if I can find them, here they are. Brian Alvarez tweeted it out. 851,000 for AEW, and NXT had 845,000. That is where both of these shows are going to be for the remainder of the war. You know, there's going to be up weeks, there's going to be down weeks, and 1 week is going to be AEW blowing NXT out of the water, and 1 week is going to be NXT blowing AEW out of the water. There's going to be a lot of back and forth depending on what's going on, major pay-per-views, you know, build, go-home shows, fallout shows, who's coming off a pay-per-view, who's not coming off a pay-per-view. This is competition. It's competition. But don't go out there and start saying that, you know, I hope AEW fails, or AEW sucks, or this and that. You know, they both have their own little grasp on the industry. They have their own audience. They got their own storylines going on. I'm enjoying both. It's a struggle to watch 4 hours of wrestling on Wednesday night, but I do it anyway because it's entertaining and it's good. AEW is showing you that they are caring and nurturing their talent. Chris Jericho versus Jungle Boy, booked. You got the tag team division, you know, kind of slowed down a little bit after the tag team tournament, but things are picking up. Cody versus MJF. It's great. And I can't wait to see what MJF says on top of what he already stated on Twitter, which is fantastic. You got the women's division slowly starting to come into place. You got Chris Statlander. You got Brandy Rhodes in the story with Awesome Kong. That is interesting. You got the BBB, the Butcher, the Bunny, and the Blade. Who knows what's going on? MJF says that he hired them and paid them handsomely to take out Cody Rhodes. So a lot is going on right now in AEW. Plus, on top of that, not only is Jericho getting ready to go one-on-one with Jungle Boy and get him over as a talent before the end of the year, you always have that looming aspect of Luchasaurus. He's on everybody's mind as well. He's the next big thing in pro wrestling as far as a big man goes. Jericho and Moxley, they're building towards that. So the tease for that is still ongoing, and those seeds have been carefully planted, and we are going to amp up that build as soon as we get on into their next unnamed pay-per-view. NXT has Finn Balor, who I think is probably one of the most interesting men in all of the industry right now. I love his attitude. I think it's fantastic what NXT is doing with Finn Balor. I love it. Adam Cole, the MVP of the WWE for 2019. Tommaso Ciampa, the resurgence of Keith Lee. Dominik Dijakovic coming into his own. Matt Riddle always being a player. You know, you got the Undisputed Era as a foursome. They are unbelievable. You got a lot of good stuff. And Rhea Ripley. I can't forget about Rhea Ripley, Shayna Baszler, Dakota Kai, the women's division over there in NXT. There's a lot to enjoy on both shows, so just for the fucking love of God, enjoy both shows. You can have your say on what you like better. I will never tell you that, you can't like whatever you like. You can't like AEW over NXT. You can't like NXT over AEW. For the love of Christ, just sit down and enjoy it like I do on Wednesday. We're going to talk about the ratings, and I'm going to give you every chance that I got a logical reason as to why AEW wins one week or NXT wins one week. It's not the end of the fucking world. This is not like the Monday Night Wars, okay? We're not generating millions upon millions upon millions of people watching pro wrestling on Wednesday night. You're a smart mark just like I am. So just sit down and enjoy the storylines that are ongoing right now. And for the love of Christ, like I said, at least it's not Monday or Friday where we're bitching, moaning, and complaining on social media for 4 hours. Whether you watch the first two NXT or the first two AEW and go back and forth. For 4 hours on Wednesday, you are not treated like an idiot. Your intelligence is not insulted. So just enjoy it for what it is. And I'm glad I came out and was one of the more logical heads in the community on Tuesday when I talked about why the ratings were the way that they were coming out of the Thanksgiving week show. And now here we are. Everybody expected it. Everybody expected it. If AEW didn't bounce back the way that they did, then there would be an issue. Everybody said, don't worry about this Thanksgiving holiday week. It's the week that you have to worry about going into next week. The rating for the week after is going to be the one that you need to really gauge and dissect. And what happened? They both drew the same number, and AEW bounced back significantly in the ratings. So just enjoy it for what it is, please. It's not the end of the world if AEW loses to NXT or if NXT loses to AEW. It's not the end of the world. Monday Night Raw ratings, they were actually up. How? I don't know, but I can only assume it's the interest in the fucking clown himself, Seth Rollins, because everybody in the community went out and put in their thumbnail, Seth Rollins heel turn, Seth Rollins is turning heel, blah, 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 blah. And who was the one out of everybody who said, why don't we slow our rolls and just think about this for a second? He did not turn heel just yet. I was the one who did that. I was one of the only ones who said, listen, guys, he is not heel yet. I don't want to see this 50-50 babyface / heel role that Seth Rollins is in. It's nauseating. If you're going to go all the way with a heel turn, you go all the way with a fucking heel turn a la Tommaso Ciampa when he was battling Johnny Gargano for the NXT Championship. That's a heel. That is a heel. Through and through. When you got the word asshole chanted at you and you got trash being thrown at your face in the ring, that is a heel. That is a heel that's getting real heat. Not go-away heat like Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins still has go-away heat, and he's being booed for the wrong reasons. He's being booed because nobody wants him on television. He's being booed because he's annoying little shit. That's not a heel. WWE, in their eyes, that's a heel. That's not a heel to me. So whatever happened on Monday, and then we got the ratings on Tuesday, this is a direct effect of everybody thinking Rollins turned heel. Because you got the tease with the AOP, he attacked Kevin Owens at the end of the show, and then he comes out on Monday this week, and it's right back to the usual cringe-like Seth Rollins that we always knew. So they actually went in reverse on Monday with this supposed heel turn. It's not heel. You cannot wrestle as a babyface, and you cannot come off as a babyface thinking that you are the good man and then get booed. That doesn't constitute as a heel. That's still babyface Seth Rollins. And I don't think Seth Rollins is that talented to take that type of character and make it work. Look at him on WWE Backstage. Did you guys watch him on WWE Backstage? Again, he uttered I don't know what went wrong. I became the guy that everybody wanted me to become, and I got shit on. Whose fault is that? First of all, it's WWE creators' fault, and then you go on that show, and you're uttering the same thing you said with Corey Graves on After the Bell. It's the fans' fucking fault. In so many words, it's the fans' fault. How can it be our fault when you yourself are not innocent by any stretch of the imagination? You are the one playing that character, and you cannot deliver anything as far as what we want. And we got WWE putting these two guys, Rollins and Wyatt, inside Hell in a Cell, and that was a complete disaster. They should have known right then and there what was going on. They did not, because this company is run by a bunch of clueless idiots. They didn't realize how much Bray Wyatt was going to be over. They didn't realize that after that match, Rollins was a heel, and the only direction for him to go in was to be booed legitimately, and they try to fight the obvious direction that the fans are giving them, and they still continue to do it. How many times? What was the one thing I told you guys on Monday? What was the one takeaway as far as Seth Rollins goes? He had the opportunity to take Roman Reigns and turn him into the biggest heel in the industry since Hulk Hogan turned on everybody and joined the NWO. They didn't do that. So what did they do? They fought. They altered sounds. They tried to mute the boos. They edited videos on YouTube to make it seem that Roman Reigns was the most over guy in the company. And everything they did was to make this guy seem as if he was accepted. And the more that they did that, the more the fans revolted against Roman Reigns. For 6 years, you did not do the right thing. And who's to say that if you turned him heel, he wouldn't have been the babyface that you wanted him to be after a great turn, for whatever reason, against whomever. It took leukemia and you guys to embellish and make it seem worse than it really was. It took leukemia and you guys adding on top of the fact that it wasn't as bad as you made it out to be to turn this guy into a beloved babyface. How sad is that? Now you're looking at Seth Rollins. You're looking at Seth Rollins, and as he looks in the mirror, he sees Roman Reigns. Because that's what I see. Rollins is right now on the verge of being in the same position Roman Reigns was in. And WWE is on the verge of making the same mistake twice. If you make the same mistake twice, then I don't think anybody in that company deserves to have the fucking position that they currently hold. Because Rollins right now, if you continue doing what you're doing, you're going to make the same mistake you did with Roman Reigns. You can't do that. You didn't do it with Reigns, you have to do it with Rollins. Turn the fucking guy heel through and through. Enough of the pussyfooting, enough of the banter back and forth. I don't think we should do it. Maybe it's right. Maybe we shouldn't do it. Maybe it's right. No. There's no ifs, ands, or buts here. Pull the trigger and have no regrets. The fans will take you where you need to go as far as Seth Rollins is concerned. That's the only reason why the ratings were up. Now, the rating that you're going to look out for with Monday Night Raw is what's going to happen the week after. Because with everybody claiming that Rollins turned heel on Monday the week before, and then we seen the same old bullshit from Seth Rollins this week, I don't think many people are going to be interested, or at least have faith in WWE to do the right thing. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. So the Raw ratings were up. The Seahawks and the Vikings Monday night game did 14.3 million viewers, the second largest of the season. If you look at the last 3 weeks of Raw and expected the rating of a football game, a record low could have easily happened. Now, it was the same usual pattern with viewership declining throughout the show. Raw was 11th overall on cable, 4th in the 18 to 49 demographic, trailing only football-related programming on ESPN, and to football-only news shows in the evening after the game was over. The rating was down only 3% from the same week last year, although this week last year, at the time, was the lowest non-holiday number for the show since early 1997. Man, 2018 was a terrible year for WWE. The bad news, and somehow they got worse this year. I honestly think that they're worse this year. The bad news is that the 20% first to third hour drop just missed the top 10 of all time. As far as the audience drops by demo from hour 1 to hour 3, women 18 to 49 fell 18%. No Becky Lynch on the show for 2 straight weeks. I'm not surprised by that. Don't know how many ratings as far as the women 18 to 49 Becky Lynch is bringing in, but Becky Lynch not being on the show obviously has hurt that demographic. Because Charlotte is dead. Charlotte right now, cold as ice. She does not really have anything special emanating from her at all. Men 18 to 49 fell 23%. Teenage girls fell 40%. Teenage boys fell 23%. And over 50 fell 17%. All down for Raw. The hours breakdown were as follows. 2.42 for 8 p.m. 2.28 million viewers for hour 2. And then the 10 p.m. hour 3 is 1.93 million viewers. That third hour is absolutely a killer for this show. They want to make their money. And you're sacrificing ratings, you're sacrificing a stable rating for whatever revenue you're getting in that third hour. That ad revenue in the third hour. I don't know why anybody wants to watch 3 hours of a fucking pro wrestling show weekly. I know I don't. That third hour is killing WWE, and the only reason why the ratings were up, even with the football game, doing the second largest rating of the season, was because WWE hooked in with that heel turn, did not deliver. And please don't tell me that it's a slow burn. They need to do anything but a slow turn with Seth Rollins. Pull the fucking trigger and have no regrets. Speaking of Seth Rollins, the Backstage, WWE Backstage audience rose with Seth Rollins' appearance. Showbuzz Daily reports WWE Backstage gained viewers this week. It was reported that 138,000 fans tuned in to watch the show. That is an increase of 13,000 over the week prior. The debut of WWE Backstage did 49,000 viewers, followed by 100,000 viewers, and then CM Punk's episode pulled in 180,000 viewers before Triple H's episode slumped to 120,000. The show ranked 103 in the top 150 for the shows on Tuesday night. They also pulled in a rating of 0.8 in the coveted 18 to 49 age group. Rollins comes off so uncomfortable. He honestly comes off so unlikable when he sits down and tries to be himself. I don't know what it is. He just doesn't emanate that charisma that we are supposed to look at when we look at a top guy on WWE television. He doesn't look it. He doesn't sound it. He doesn't talk it. And it's always some lame excuse out of his mouth. Clearly, he talked about CM Punk and said he gave up on it. He's about to give up on it. It's not going to happen. The only reason why it's not going to happen is because CM Punk doesn't want to wrestle. And if he wanted to wrestle, I doubt Seth Rollins is on the top of his list. So the only reason why Seth Rollins is mentioning CM Punk is because he needs CM Punk. CM Punk doesn't need Seth Rollins. So with Seth Rollins being there, I think everybody wanted to kind of see what version of Seth Rollins we were going to get. And when we got the version we got of Seth Rollins on WWE Backstage, it was just the ultimate disappointment. And again, we got 1 week to go before TLC, which they've done nothing as far as build goes. Not one match has been announced. I can assume what kind of matches are going to be on the show, but not one match has been officially announced for TLC, and we got 1 week of pay-per-view build. How long are you going to wait on this Seth Rollins heel turn when the fucking answers were given to you at Hell in a Cell? I don't want to wait till TLC. I don't want to have to sit through mindless garbage on Monday night for weeks on end. Do it. And then we got this Seth Rollins on WWE Backstage. Absolutely cringe-inducing garbage. Did you guys see the promo he cut on someone who blasted him on social media? There was a social media smackdown, I think, towards the end of the show. They read one comment. I was tempted to tweet, but he's got me blocked. But I wanted to tweet WWE Backstage. I would have loved if he answered my question. Hey, Rollins, this is JD, the one who called you a pussy and a clown on social media and on his podcast. Why did you block me, and why can't you handle criticism? That's what I would have loved to ask the champion Seth Rollins. He cut a promo against this guy who said that he smelled like clam juice or something like that. Clearly, it looked like someone from the WWE Backstage staff had their troll account ready, and they just typed in whatever nonsense they could come up with at the time, and he cut one of the most lamest promos. Now you see the difference between Rollins and CM Punk. You see the promo Punk cut on Tom Arnold? Look at Seth Rollins' promo. Absolute fucking garbage. The guy sucks. The guy just sucks. He needs to go back and find his inner fucking bad guy. He needs to go back and find his inner dick. Because what he's got going on right now, That company is not going anywhere. That show is not going anywhere with the version of Seth Rollins we got right now on Monday Night Raw. CM Punk will be back on Tuesday, which will get my view. Because every time CM Punk is on, I want to watch. Because CM Punk is a brilliant guy. He knows what he's talking about. And if he goes on there and shits on Seth Rollins and shits on Baron Corbin or shits on creative for whatever reason, I have to watch. Because I love when people validate what we talk about here on the podcast. And CM Punk definitely is one to validate anything bad that happens on WWE and with what we say in the community. The community, the WWE 2K community, don't know how you're handling the game this year. It honestly fucking sucks. And I feel zero pity for anybody that went out there and spent $60 to purchase this game and get a game that was not even completed at least 20%. This game is nothing more than a rehash of what they did last year with a bunch of fucking errors and just bullshit littered throughout. Employees quit over WWE 2K20, and the budget for next year's game has already been slashed. Justin Leeper, a former writer on WWE's video games, he's done the Road to WrestleMania for WWE games in 2009, 2010, and 2011. Time when those games were not bad. So he kept fans updated about the perils. I love that word, man, the perils. Monday Night Raw is in peril every Monday. He updated fans about the perils currently going on with the WWE 2K20 staff. Like I said, he designed, directed, and wrote the Road to WrestleMania for all 3 years in 2009, 10, and 11. This fiasco with WWE 2K20 might have been a breaking point with WWE. Their relationship could be strained with 2K over the obvious issues with their latest offering. The latest patch didn't do a whole lot, with some vague patch notes where they did some sketchy things, says Leeper. 2K said that they fixed the hair mechanics, but in reality, they only fixed a hair issue in one entrance. Who that issue was, I don't even know, nor do I care. Leeper also stated that he doesn't see any more patches coming, especially patches of significance for the game. It was stated that as we get further along, and it's becoming clear that 2K is wanting to distance themselves from the 2K disaster, from the 2K20 disaster, it gets worse because some people have just had enough and walked out. He goes on to say, I've heard about double-digit numbers of people quitting the team. They haven't quit for other stuff. They just quit because it's like, man, I don't want this stink on me anymore. I don't care what I'm doing. I'm leaving. I'm taking my stuff and going. End quote. He said that when something does bad in the WWE franchise, they cut the budget. And the game has been selling poorly for the last 3 or 4 years. So clearly the budget has been cut, and you can see the budget has been cut because of the game that we've been given year after year after year after year. People just somehow grow complacent with the game. They can't break this habit of playing the shit game. Games like this do not need to come out yearly. I don't get how, and thank God for the trade-in program, but we don't know how long GameStop's going to be around, and they fucking rob you of your money anyway, right? You could buy a fucking game a year ago, and the trade-in value was like $4 the next time you want to go trade it in towards the next year's title. Yet you're still paying full price almost anyway with the fucking tax on a new version of WWE 2K20. And what if you guys download the game to your system directly? You're stuck with the game. You can't trade that shit in. You can't sell it. It's yours forever. This is a bad situation. I don't think games like this need to come out every single year. I honestly think with Madden, MLB, NBA 2K, FIFA, WWE 2K, we don't need games yearly. We don't need Call of Duty yearly either. We don't need Call of Duty yearly. If Call of Duty was on a cycle where we got one game every 3 years, that's a different story. Because look at what the current state of the game is now for Modern Warfare. It is god-awful. I bought that game on my PS4, and I spent $60 on it expecting a change for the entire franchise, back to its roots. Now we got a community manager and a fucking community of idiots who don't know what the fuck they are doing and will not listen to the community and will refuse to change the game to make it the way the community wants. They developed a game for themselves, And these are people who are not a part of Infinity Ward. I don't know who the fuck these people are. These are people who have not one iota of a clue about what makes a great Call of Duty game, and they're calling themselves Call of Duty developers, directors, community managers, working for Infinity Ward. Give me a fucking break. This game is one of the worst games in the franchise's history. I have not prestiged past Prestige 20 in Modern Warfare. I refuse to play it. The only way you were getting me back on that game is if you fixed the minimap, and if you fixed the fucking footsteps and made Dead Silence a perk, and fixed Ghost the way they did in Black Ops. They refuse to listen. They refuse to fucking listen. They have yet to fix the footsteps. Why the fuck do we need a video game every single year if the same shit is constantly broken? Look at WWE 2K. No universe mode working. Universe mode is bare bones. What the fuck is a universe mode? We've been asking for GM mode for 3 years now. But based on the sales of the previous last 3 titles, I guess the budget was cut and the GM mode was a part of that budget cut. Graphics are terrible this year. Graphics were okay last year. Then they want to cite, oh, we fixed the lighting and everything looks good. Yet you got character models like China this year and The Rock and others who don't look anything like their real-life counterparts. I don't know what happened. I really don't know what happened. I don't know why we need yearly titles for these games. That's the fucking issue. You have these developers yearly turn around every single year and try and develop a game that is going to be nothing more than the same shit every single year. God knows what these people go through. God knows the deadlines these people have to keep up with. Do they sleep? Are they even human at that point? Yet there are suckers out there that still buy this shit. I remember back in the day when I used to buy MVP Baseball made by EA every single year, or MLB The Show, right? I used to buy those games every single year. I got tired of it. It was the same game every year. They barely change anything about these games year to year. Same thing with Call of Duty. Same thing with Call of Duty. Why? If WWE is smart, they would distance themselves from 2K, and if 2K is smart, they would not release at all a 2K21. You're only setting yourself up for failure. There's no reason for a 2K21. None. Get yourself right. Get some people on board that know what the fuck they're doing. Get some people who actually give a shit about developing a proper wrestling title. Ukes is now a part of another unnamed wrestling project. Due out when? I don't know. But Ukes left WWE 2K. Then the ship started to sink fast, and now it's dead. The ship is completely done. Ukes is developing what I think is an AEW game. Now, they won't say that, but I know for a fact that when I was at StarCast, I seen character models for Kenny Omega, MJF, and Cody Rhodes. So I know for a fact that they're being scanned for future use in a video game. And if Ukes is developing an AEW game, I honestly think it's going to put 2K to shame. I don't know who else is going to be on board with it, but the wrestling games nowadays, they're not the same. They really aren't the same. The mechanics suck. It feels so robotic. Nothing about it feels natural. It's not fun. The old games for the Nintendo 64, they were fun. They just felt fun. It didn't look the best. It didn't need to, because the mechanics were top-notch in the industry. And how is it that a game back then still holds up as the gold standard in 2020? That is ridiculous. You should be ashamed of yourself. Really. I don't think 2K21 needs to see the light of day, period. And if it does, I can guarantee you, I will call out everybody that buys this piece of shit, because you know for a fact it's going to be worse than it is this year. And I can tell you right now, I will keep my wallet away from anything this company does until we get a proper video game that is for us. Because I'm tired of these developers developing a fucking game and not listening to the goddamn community. And 2K didn't do a good job at listening to the fucking community either. You know, it's the same shit every fucking year. Same thing with Call of Duty. Video games have just the appeal of video games and the idea of video games compared to when I was younger. It's not the same anymore. You know, it's all about a business. There's no heart in video games anymore. You don't see these developers developing video games to the fans and with fucking true passion and love. You gotta go seek some fucking indie developer who built the shit from the ground up with a fundraiser, right? And that's the only way you're gonna get fucking true passion, heart, and love in any video game title. These major AAA titles, forget about it. Forget about it. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. Yeah, unless you're an Uncharted or God of War or a fucking Last of Us, stay away from these fucking games, really. All these yearly titles, they're nothing but a fucking vacuum. They suck the money out of you, and that's all they want at the end of the day. Then they'll fucking kill you with microtransactions, they'll kill you with fucking DLC, and they'll fucking suck you in with loot boxes and fucking cards and coins and fucking COD points. It sucks. It really sucks. 2K21, kill it. Kill it before it even is a thought in anybody's head. WWE is killing the old way in which you look at the WWE Network. Network tiers and plans are coming in 2020. Boys, get ready. You're going to be spending more for the WWE Network. Now, it's been reported for months. It's been said at their quarterly meetings with the stockholders. Changes are coming to the network. We got an overhaul of the network just recently. They're still working out the kinks. It still doesn't work properly. Some people are still having problems with the network. WWE has been teasing the tier plan for the WWE Network over the last few conference calls that they hold each quarter every year. Especially for the last 12 months, we've been hearing about this new tiered plan. It appears the company is getting closer to officially announcing these changes, as PW Insider and Mike Johnson reported on Thursday that the first tier of the updated WWE Network is slated to launch within the next week, which will be a free tier. The tier is expected to be free for all users. It was added that WWE will move forward with its release as soon as possible, as they are currently finishing up the beta process. WrestlingNews.co first reported that this was a thing dating back to 2016. If you want to go back and see how often it's been talked about, since 2016, people were reporting that there's going to be a tiered plan coming to the network. The way that the tiered structure could work would see a free plan that would include commercials and a limited amount of content, while the higher structure that has been discussed for over a year through various sources would include content from other promotions. Evolve, PWG, whoever else WWE wants to get on board, I don't know. So we'll see who that is going to include. Now, back in January, WWE rolled out the updates across different devices with the new interface, and it meant to make things easier for the fans to find specific shows and specific moments from their archives. So that is what's going on. We don't have any idea what the tiered plans are going to be, what they're going to include, what the prices are going to be. They already have my money. I'll use this for work. Obviously, I think the WWE Network at $9.99 is a fucking steal. There's so much content on there, and I'm not even talking about the pay-per-views. The reason why I got the network to begin with was for the weekly NXT shows, the monthly pay-per-views, which is a steal at $9.99. There's no fucking way you can tell me that you're going to spend $54.99 on the fucking garbage that WWE's producing right now. So, $9.99 a month, folks, is a steal. It's a steal. NXT was one of the main reasons why I signed up to the WWE Network. That was one of the exclusive programs. WWE's documentaries, the 24 documentaries, the sit down with Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Undertaker and shit like that. Table for Three, I love. That is some quality stuff. You know, that is some quality stuff. Obviously, everything else with the network, you know, depending on how you feel about the company, some people have canceled the network. Some people just refuse to support the WWE in any which way, and they take a stand by not signing up and being a part of the network. I think that's foolish. I really do. And even if I wasn't doing the podcast and I wasn't doing this for a living and I wasn't doing anything WWE wrestling related content on YouTube, I'd still buy the network for $9.99. It's a fucking steal. It really is. So, I don't know what's going on with 2020 and the network tiers, but they already have my money. They can go up to $14.99, $19.99. It's still going to be a steal, because they're only going to add more content on top of the existing content that they have. You're still going to get the pay-per-views. You still get NXT UK. Can't find that anywhere, right? Mae Young Classic, Cruiserweight Classic, all this shit that comes to the network that you're not going to see on weekly WWE programming. It's and all the classic stuff. The stuff that the old-timers, the OGs grew up on. All of that's there. ECW. You can't find that shit anywhere. WWE has monopolized the fucking industry and have given you one home base for all of that. Why would you not pay for something that I know you guys willingly enjoy? You might not love the current WWE product, but if you want to go back and watch a fucking Monday Nitro from 1997, you guys can certainly go and do that. Why would you give that up? So no matter what the tiers are, they got my money. WWE will always be a steal, no matter what you think about the current product or not. Don't let that poison your mind. Now, I know people want to take a stand, but you're taking a stand in the wrong manner. That's just me. That is actually something that they did right. Now, Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live on Friday, don't watch those shows. Take a stand and don't watch and hit them where it hurts in the ratings. That's what I would say. But the WWE Network, I think it's always going to be a steal. WWE rehires Big Dick Johnson to their creative team. Who the fuck is Big Dick Johnson, JD? Well, it's Chris DeJoseph, who actually is the mastermind behind all four seasons of Lucha Underground. He was the creative man, the creative mind, with a team of 2 or 3 others for Lucha Underground. And now they're dead, and they're no longer going to be a thing. So Lucha Underground is dead. Chris DeJoseph, he was working with MLW. Before MLW, he was an on-screen character for WWE known as Big Dick Johnson. I'm sure you guys remember Big Dick Johnson. He left MLW this week, only after a month, and he was their co-executive producer. And the report notes his talks with WWE actually predated him joining MLW. DeJoseph had a creative role in WWE from 2004 to 2010, eventually becoming a senior writer and producer. It is said that he is expected to return as soon as this month. After he left WWE the first time, he was part of the founding group for Lucha Underground, like I mentioned, and had the co-executive producer role there as well. He also worked as a senior story producer for some reality TV products, such as Big Brother and Hotel Paradise. So Big Dick Johnson is now a part of they didn't really specify, the Monday Night Raw creative team or the SmackDown on Fox creative team. I don't know if Raw and SmackDown have separate creative teams. I don't think so. I honestly think it's all one and the same. But he's now a part of the creative team. What does this mean, folks? Do we all expect Monday Night Raw to somehow just change overnight, and the quality of the show is going to be better than it's ever been because Big Dick Johnson has now signed with the company? What does this signing mean of Chris DeJoseph? It means absolutely nothing. This is another faceless idiot who is going to sit down in a boardroom, try and get his ideas out there, ultimately to be turned down by Vince McMahon. So what does this mean? Chris DeJoseph is just another no-name hire for the creative team on top of the 40 fucking idiots they got there right now, who Vince McMahon will not listen to. Spare me. This is in the fucking news. WWE went out and got this guy for his reality TV experience. WWE went out and got Big Dick Johnson, Chris DeJoseph, so that he doesn't go anywhere else in the pro wrestling landscape. They want to have everybody under their umbrella. This is a nothing move and a waste of a payroll. That's all this is. I don't want to say that this is the AEW effect, but I'm sure Chris DeJoseph, if he was leaving MLW, I'm pretty sure someone in AEW would have caught wind and given him a position somewhere in the company. Because that guy, clearly, he's got years of experience. AEW is looking for guys with years of experience. WWE, they're looking to just keep everybody away from AEW. This is another idiot who's going to be turned down at every twist and turn by Vince McMahon and will offer nothing as far as true change to the company. Simple as that. What else you want me to add? I don't know. Hope to God we don't see him in a fucking G-string on Monday Night Raw. I think that will be my breaking point as well, you guys. Vince McMahon has absolutely given up on Cedric Alexander. Now, I want to talk about this before we get into the Johnny Morrison situation. Now, this is a perfect story to lead into the John Morrison signing with WWE. Now, there was a time weeks ago where people were like, oh man, Cedric Alexander and AJ Styles had a great 5-minute match on the pre-show of whatever pay-per-view they were on. I don't even remember, nor do I care. And then he came out and then got a 6-man tag beat down from AJ Styles in the OC. And I think he actually won, but then got beat down at the end of the match and then was just buried by AJ Styles with a Styles Clash off the top rope. My memory is fuzzy. With Monday Night Raw, it's always fuzzy. I don't give a shit. But Cedric Alexander was being positioned at the beginning of the new season of Monday Night Raw. He was going to be one of the big guys on the show, right? He was one of Paul Heyman's guys. He was drafted specifically to Monday Night Raw because Paul Heyman found that Cedric Alexander is a top-tier talent in his eye. That he could be something in this company if molded and taught a certain way. He was a Paul Heyman guy. This was a hand-picked fucking talent by Paul Heyman. Then we started to see the wheels come off the train. Cedric Alexander losing, like I said, featuring Cedric Alexander less and less on their shows, not really anything as far as a creative direction whatsoever. He was vying for the U.S. title, and then overnight, he was out of the U.S. title situation. And then we got Humberto Carrillo slotted in that spot. Everybody said, oh, JD, it's too early to use the word buried. How could you use the word buried? Please refrain from using the word buried and give the WWE time to establish Cedric Alexander on Monday Night Raw. Now, if you recall, Dave Meltzer reporting back in September that Vince McMahon made the call for creative to bury Cedric Alexander. That's when everybody started saying, well, I don't believe this. I don't believe this. He's still mixing it up with AJ Styles. Let's give it some time. Paul Heyman, like I said, is a fan of Cedric Alexander. The reason why he was getting a nice push for at least a couple of months was because of Paul Heyman. At one point, he was teaming with Roman Reigns. He was featured in matches with AJ Styles. Then he turned things around in September. And soon after the season premiere of Monday Night Raw, things went south. Things went south. Everybody started to look at Cedric Alexander as, oh my God, what's happening? How could you take someone as talented as him and not really utilize him correctly? Things were going so well, and now they're not going so well. Many people, including Alexander, denied this was a burial. However, during the last couple of months, he has not appeared at all on Monday Night Raw. And on the shows he has appeared, he's lost matches to Buddy Murphy, Andrade. And now, as of this week, on this week's main event tapings, it is now absolutely within our jurisdiction to use the word buried when we're talking about Cedric Alexander. Folks, Cedric was on main event, and he lost one-on-one to Mojo Rawley at this week's main event tapings, who happens to be yet another WWE superstar who signed a 5-year deal, extension with the company, to ultimately sit around and do nothing but collect a paycheck. Now, if you're a longtime WWE fan and you see the booking patterns here, what do you expect to have happen to guys like Cedric Alexander? Cedric Alexander, it happened to. Everyone's like, don't read the report by Meltzer. It's bullshit. How could you start throwing the word buried around? You don't know what he's talking about. What happened? Cedric Alexander got buried. Why? I don't know. He's one of the most talented guys on the entire fucking payroll. How you could look at somebody like that and not want to use him in your mid-card, I don't get it. But then again, WWE didn't really do anything to build Cedric Alexander up anyway. They plucked him from 205 Live and threw him out there to get over on his own. You didn't put any fucking care into this guy in the first place, and then you expect him to get over on his own with no fucking muscle from the machine. You can't do that. That's why Humberto Carrillo failed. And he will be a failure forever. Because WWE's not going to get behind a guy like that. So look at Cedric Alexander. You can make the claim for everybody else in that same position. Cedric, Andrade, Aleister Black, Sami Zayn. You can put fucking Buddy Murphy in that discussion. Ali. WWE doesn't push these guys. WWE doesn't care to push these guys. Who's the next flavor of the month? It was Humberto. What happened? 6 weeks. Dead. Oh, but he's in the ring with AJ Styles. Oh, he's in the ring with Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins made him into a superstar. No, he didn't. How can Seth Rollins make Humberto into a superstar when Seth Rollins himself is not even over? So you're just defeating the purpose at that point. Monday Night Raw will never see a guy like Cedric or anybody in that same category break out and be something more that we expect them to be. They will always be held down. And Ricochet is dangerously close to being in that boat. How you have a guy like Ricochet on this roster and he has yet to break through. That is an absolute fucking disgrace for any creative writing member on that Raw roster. I don't get it. Cedric Alexander, buried. If you're a longtime fan of WWE and you see the booking patterns, then you will know that once Vince McMahon loses confidence in you and decides he doesn't want anything to do with you on TV in that manner, dead. Buried. It's very hard for that wrestler to come out of that. Now, I do have a conspiracy theory behind Cedric Alexander. At this point, it does not seem like there are any plans for Cedric to do anything meaningful on Monday night. Everything that is being said about him is that he is well-liked backstage. Nobody's really reported anything that he might have done anything wrong to rub people the wrong way. So it looks like Vince McMahon simply wants to cool him off. Why? Because Vince McMahon had to put it out there in the open. He had to put it out there in the public perception that Paul Heyman's going to be the one running the show. If Paul Heyman was really running the show, folks, do you think Cedric Alexander would be buried like he is, losing to Mojo Rawley on WWE Main Event? So what does this mean? A, Vince McMahon bullshitted his shareholders. B, Paul Heyman's era of Monday Night Raw is a complete fucking failure. And Paul Heyman, his name is only attached to this thing because when the ship goes down, who do you think Vince is going to blame? Himself or Paul Heyman? It's the only reason why he was hired in the first place. The holes are showing up and the sink is sinking. The ship is sinking. Reason why Eric Bischoff got fired from SmackDown. Same reason. You think Paul Heyman's fucking job is safe? Absolutely not. Heyman and Bischoff were hired under the same pretenses. It's only that Paul Heyman knows the product better than Eric Bischoff, supposedly. Give me a break. He's done nothing wrong. Humberto Carrillo, Ricochet, they're up-and-coming babyface stars. How long before WWE and Vince loses favor in Ricochet? I'm waiting for it. Ali never got back on the right track after supposedly all the rumors of him going for the WWE Championship. Buddy Murphy's not going anywhere on this show. Aleister Black is not going anywhere on this show. Ricochet, same thing with him. These guys aren't going in. Andrade, he can't speak English, so they won't push him. Everybody that you think is a top-tier talent or should be a top-tier talent is going to suffer the same thing that Cedric Alexander is suffering. This company has given you no hope in anybody breaking through. Cedric Alexander simply was not in their plans. And if you do things to get over, you're actually doing yourself harm. Because if you try and go out there and get yourself over and get yourself to a point where you are starting to get over and you're changing the landscape for yourself, you're creating opportunities for yourself. That's actually looked at in WWE as wrong because they want to stick to their plan. And if you come along and interfere with their plans, they will come and interfere with you. And they will do everything to stop you from going and achieving success. Now, I do have a conspiracy theory on Cedric Alexander. When ACH, Jordan Miles, was fired from the WWE, he showed a picture on social media of him signing official WWE documents. In the same thread, Cedric Alexander's wife tweeted at ACH something, I don't know what it was, proud of you, good on you, blah, 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 whatever. Some positivity garbage. And then he replied back to her, who she is working with AEW. He replied back to her and said, "Don't worry, I'm working on your husband next." Cedric Alexander. So if WWE thinks that Cedric Alexander is mingling it up with ACH, who made the company look fucking bad in the way that he did. Cedric Alexander is somehow colluding with ACH, or the company thinks that, one goes in with the other. That's not a good look for Cedric Alexander. Now, I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I might just be out there just, conspiracy theory-ish with this thing, but it's something to look at because she tweeted him and he tweeted about Cedric in reply. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but it simply is just Vince McMahon doesn't have an eye for talent anymore. And it is the reasons that I gave you. If you are not in their plans and you try and make plans on your own and you interfere with their plans, they will do everything to stop your plans. Same thing happened to Rusev. Same thing happened to everybody. It's going to happen to everybody after Cedric Alexander. Cedric Alexander isn't the only casualty here. It will continue to happen. If they don't like you, if they don't have plans for you, you are going nowhere. John Morrison. Let's lead into this. After debuting on Raw in 2004, John Morrison won the ECW World, and I use that term very loosely, ECW World Championship. He won the Intercontinental Championship, the Tag Team Championship, the World Tag Team Championship, and then he left the company in 2011. Now, WWE has confirmed on the FS1 studio show, WWE Backstage, that Morrison has signed a new deal and will be returning to the company in the near future. The news was confirmed by Pro Wrestling Sheet's Ryan Satin, the Satin Sheet, the fucking loser sheet, Satin. And WWE took to social media to say that they have confirmed the breaking news first. Really? They confirmed the breaking news first. Meanwhile, I've seen people like Alvarez, Meltzer, Sean Ross Sapp, PW Insider all state the same thing, that John Morrison is indeed on his way back to the WWE. So who was it that broke the news first? This clown on Backstage, WWE? Or was it everybody else that you refuse to acknowledge in the community and who are deemed fucking failures as journalists? You're looking at 4 public enemy number ones in WWE. Now, this comes after months of reports that former Lucha Underground and Impact champion John Morrison had decided to rejoin the WWE despite interest from All Elite Wrestling. Morrison finally took to Twitter to comment on this news. He added that he can't wait to stand in a WWE ring opposite the most talented people in the business. He says, confirmed, I've signed with at WWE. I've never been good at anything as I am at wrestling, and I can't wait to stand in a WWE ring again opposite the most talented people in the business. There's no word on which brand John Morrison will be assigned to. If I had a choice, he'd show up in NXT, but I don't think that's happening. I do think that he will end up on Monday Night Raw, and I don't think it will be a good thing for John Morrison to be on Monday Night Raw. I will explain that in a little bit. Nobody knows what brand he's going to be assigned to, but everybody's excited for his impending WWE return. Now, while it's great to hear that Morrison will be back in the WWE in a WWE ring, I really do wish that this would have gone about a little bit differently. Save it for the Royal Rumble. Save it for a surprise return on the show. Announce it that he's coming back on Raw, and we can all anticipate watching John Morrison. He's not going to be a guy that moves the needle. He's not going to break any boundaries on Monday night. He's not going to generate ratings. He's not going to take the show to be fucking dog shit to fucking, whatever, cat shit, That's one stage from the bottom of the barrel, He's not going to take it from the bottom of the barrel to the fucking, to here. He's not going to be that type of guy. He's not. Now, I really do wish that WWE would have saved this instead of announcing it on WWE Backstage. Kind of ruins the whole fucking surprise. It kind of ruins the unpredictability factor of it. I got to watch Ryan Satin announce that, John Morrison's coming back to the WWE. Oh, fucking joy. Let me get excited about another guy who's coming into the fucking company who will ultimately be wasted by Vince. So I do wish that it would have went a little differently and would have been, say, for a big surprise on Raw or SmackDown or even for the fucking Royal Rumble, which will be here before you know it. Now, having the return announced on WWE Backstage really just kind of puts the kibosh on that. It dilutes the entire announcement. Could have been a great pop. I don't know how many people currently watching the WWE remember John Morrison, but I do think that more people are in to what's going on now than they were back in the day, just a couple years ago. You know? I do think that it would have got a great reaction if saved for one of the weekly television shows or a pay-per-view. Now, John Morrison's real-life wife, Taya Valkyrie, took to Twitter to comment on this news. She said that she is very proud of her husband. However, you got some fucking parasites who live and breathe nothing but pro wrestling in the community. Notice that Valkyrie also tagged Paige in the tweet, telling the former Divas champion that she loved Paige as well. Valkyrie's comment came after Paige urged WWE to sign Taya Valkyrie. Now, Taya is the reigning Impact Knockouts champion, recently becoming the longest reigning champion in that company's history with that specific title. For those who aren't aware, I did some research. Taya actually signed with the WWE back in 2011 with a developmental deal. However, she did not wrestle a single televised match for the company. NXT star Chelsea Green, who is engaged to Zack Ryder, also teased a Taya Valkyrie move to WWE. Commenting on the news of Morrison's return, Valkyrie said that he wished he had a super hot wife for her to wrestle. So that was pretty much that. Now, I don't know what Taya Valkyrie's contract is looking like with Impact Wrestling. I know that they just signed Jordynne Grace to a 2-year extension. Tessa Blanchard's up in the summer of 2020. Don't know what's going on with anybody else, but I think Taya Valkyrie coming on into the WWE would be a nice little addition. Now, they already have a loaded women's roster, but adding someone like Taya Valkyrie with her being Morrison's wife, I think it could be a good deal. Don't know how valuable Impact Wrestling sees Taya. Don't know what she wants to do after conquering that entire women's division and becoming the longest reigning women's champion in Impact history. She might want to go out there and challenge herself. She might go to AEW. She might join her husband in WWE. Who knows? WWE would absolutely give her a look. And I think that would be a great signing. She's very good. CM Punk. CM Punk clearly took issue with Morrison's claim, talking about some of the best talent in the business, reminding the former Impact and Lucha Underground champion that the most talented worker in the world, in his opinion, isn't signed to WWE. Responding to Morrison's initial tweet about being able to work with the most talented wrestlers in the world, Punk clearly stated on Twitter, and I quote, "Bro, Will Ospreay is in New Japan Pro Wrestling." He mentioned to Morrison that Will Ospreay is in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Subtle burials, subtle shots by CM Punk against the current WWE roster. I love it. I live for it. It makes me smile. It really does. After the year that he had, I don't know how anybody can argue that Will Ospreay isn't the best wrestler in the world, or at least one of the best wrestlers in the world. Ospreay had a 2019 that will probably land him the number one spot in the PWI Top 500. Everybody's excited about John Morrison. Why? Why are you excited about John Morrison, folks? Morrison, I love John Morrison. I love Johnny Impact. I love Johnny Mundo. I love John Hennigan, period. I think John Hennigan is a fucking fantastic performer. Heavily underutilized in anything WWE related. I look at John Morrison and listen, coming from where he came from, the Tough Enough deal, and he didn't even win the fucking competition. I look at him. Do I see a world champion? Possibly. Do I look at somebody that when I look at him, it reminds me of the old school? When I look at John Morrison, I look at somebody that brings me back to a better day when I looked at the mid-card in WWE for the IC title. The Shawn Michaels, the Razor Ramones, the Gold Dusts, the Bret Harts, the Mr. Perfects. He's got that type of mold. He's fantastic. I don't know why anybody is excited about this. I don't know why anybody is holding their breath for something fucking major to happen with John Morrison signing with the WWE. I don't get the excitement. I get the excitement about who he might be paired with. Yeah, that's great. But even at that point, you know that WWE isn't going to go and let John Morrison go out there and truly do his thing. Do I wish he signed with AEW? Yes, I do. Because I honestly think that if he went to AEW, he would have been treated much better than he would have in the WWE. And who's to say he wouldn't have made just as much money, if not more, if he signed with AEW? We don't know that for sure. Maybe the only reason why he's coming back to the WWE is because he is 40 years old, and he realizes that he can't continue to wrestle the style in which he wrestles, and this might be his last big payday. And he wanted that payday. Maybe this is a decision that he came to with his wife. Maybe they will both end up in WWE. We don't know that for sure. Maybe this was a tandem deal. He goes, he's looking for work, he wants to make some big money, and he'll be there, which makes it easier for her to join him over there when that time is up. We don't know. We don't know. But why is anybody getting excited about John Morrison? You do realize that John Morrison is just going to be another guy that WWE buries. Might not be a burial, and I use that in all capital letters, but it will be something that will be disappointing. Guys, I want you to remember when Rey Mysterio came back into the WWE. This was, 2 years ago? He came back to the WWE. He was one of the hottest independent talents in the world. Lighting it up. Rey Mysterio never looked better. His days in Lucha Underground were phenomenal against Matanza, right? He was over there doing his thing. He was highly sought after. Everybody wanted Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio was in New Japan, Jushin Thunder Liger, fucking wanting matches with Will Ospreay. He was doing the thing. Rey Mysterio was a very hot commodity. Very wanted. He joins WWE, and he is placed on SmackDown because WWE, more than anybody else, looks at somebody like Rey Mysterio and sees that big Latino influence. They don't have that Latino influence on SmackDown. And they got that on Raw with Andrade, right? And they need that on SmackDown with Rey Mysterio. So they placed him on SmackDown for that very reason. He got there, and he was still the hottest free agent signing, possibly of that entire year, or at least one of them. Within 2 to 3 months, this guy was dead in the water. They did nothing with him. They looked at Rey Mysterio as just another name. He went from being one of the most sought-after free agents to being ordinary and like everybody else. He felt exactly like a Mojo Rawley. He felt like a Zack Ryder. He felt like a fucking Kurt Hawkins, you know? He felt like a Titus O'Neil. He felt like an Apollo Crews. He didn't feel special. Then WWE decides, you know what? We got something for Andrade. Let's pair him with Rey Mysterio. So they paired Rey Mysterio and Andrade, being that they're both luchadors, right? So we got some great matches out of both of them. And then when WWE figures out that they got a good working recipe here, then they kind of beat you over the head with it. And we got how many matches? 3, 4 matches, 5 matches with Rey Mysterio and Andrade. And it was the same fucking match every single time. Nothing new. Nothing new. Yeah, they were exciting, but they were putting them together for absolutely no reason. Then we don't have anything for these guys, and they're putting on great matches. There's no direction here. What is the reason in which they're fighting? You can make some convoluted fucking storyline. You could come up with something off the top of your head, but nothing's really going to stick as far as generating interest goes. It's just two guys who can deliver great matches. Two guys that people want to see in more meaningful matches, possibly together with more meaning. Maybe with a title on the line. We didn't get any of that. Then what happened after that? Rey got hurt. Rey didn't do much of anything. WWE had Rey Mysterio sitting on the sidelines. Feud with Samoa Joe went nowhere. Guy was literally sitting at catering for a good chunk of the year. And then, I don't know what changed. Who knows if Rey Mysterio went to management and said, I got an out clause after 18 months. I'm signed for 2 years, but I can walk after 18 months. It's in my contract. I want out. Then maybe WWE sat down and rethought their strategy. Well, we don't want Rey Mysterio to leave because we know exactly where he's going to go, and he's a big fucking name with a lot of audience that could potentially follow him somewhere. You know? We don't want him to just get up and leave. So let's try and put our heads together and do something with Rey Mysterio. WWE, out of the blue, pairs him with Cain Velasquez, and he's in a world title match with Brock Lesnar. That includes his son, Dominic. Now, Dominic signed with the WWE. I don't know when he's going to be full-time with the WWE on the active roster, but that's got to help aid WWE in hopefully keeping Rey Mysterio on the roster? Nobody knows what's going to happen with Rey Mysterio come WrestleMania. His contract is up. We don't know where his mind is, if he wants to stay or if he wants to go. But from what I see, the recent creative decisions with Rey Mysterio, the match with Brock Lesnar, a world title, pairing him with Cain Velasquez, getting Dominic on television and working with his father, and now the United States Championship is all being done in a last-ditch effort to keep Mysterio under contract or try and sway him to re-sign with the company so he doesn't go anywhere. And this is Rey fucking Mysterio we're talking about. We're not talking about John Morrison. If they brought in Rey Mysterio and didn't use him for an entire fucking year correctly, what do you think they're going to do to Johnny Morrison? Do you people fucking think? Do you use the fucking brain capabilities? Do you use your brain cells? You don't. You see something for what it is and you don't think. And then I'm the one who sits here negative about, oh, JD just wants to shit on WWE. Why don't you just look at this as a bright spot? What bright spot? They haven't given me any reason to care about any of the talent on these shows. I'm supposed to be excited for John Morrison, but I look at Ricochet and I look at the fucking creative that Ricochet's being given, and I'm supposed to be excited? I look at Aleister Black sitting in a fucking closet for 9 months, and I'm supposed to be excited about John Morrison. I look at EC3. Going somewhere else and making himself into a world champion. Joins NXT, gets placed in the inaugural North American Championship ladder match. He's on NXT. He feels important. Look at EC3. They signed him and wasted him. Absolutely nothing. Yet I'm supposed to be excited about John Morrison. Andrade's been on the main roster for how long now? A year and a half, 2 years? What have they done with Andrade after fucking lighting the world on fire in NXT? Look at Drew McIntyre. He has not been able to break through the glass ceiling that they have over him because they will not allow it. A guy like McIntyre? Are you serious? Yet I'm supposed to be excited for John Morrison. Buddy Murphy, Mustafa Ali, look at what they did to Drew Gulak, right? Look at what they did to fucking Kofi Kingston. After 8 months, 7 months as WWE champion, wiped away in 7 seconds. Yet I'm supposed to be excited for the creative possibilities for Johnny Morrison. Look at what they did to Nakamura. Look at what they did to the Revival. Look at what they continue to do with every single talent on that roster. Every single talent that they call up from NXT. They cannot even creatively write for the people they have now. Now you're going to add John Morrison to a Raw and SmackDown roster, which is going to take another opportunity away from somebody else. And it's going to end up being the same fucking shit. Morrison's going to join these people who aren't being used and are being treated creatively inept. Yet I'm supposed to be excited about John Morrison. What makes you think that Vince McMahon's not going to look at John Morrison and look at EC3? Seriously. And this is the second time I'm mentioning EC3. EC3 left the company because he knew he could be better. He went out and became a world champion in Impact Wrestling, and he became a guy that was highly sought after in the industry. He decided that he developed this new moniker for himself and developed his repertoire, and he got this character down. He wants to take this back home to the WWE and see what else he could do and just rise through the ranks and become who he thinks he can become. You mean to tell me that WWE looked at EC3 welcoming him back with open arms, or did you look at EC3, Vince, and look at somebody who left your company and now wanted to willingly come back, and now at every chance you got, you look at EC3, you don't even use him, you buried him at every fucking shot, he's a goddamn fucking mannequin spraying himself with water bottles, he does nothing but sit in catering. You jumped at the opportunity to take this guy who left your company, made his name somewhere else, came back home, and you said, no, you're not making a name for yourself after you left me the first time. On my dime this time, you're going to sit out and you're going to sit until I am ready to use you. And what is WWE going to do? They'll wait till his contract is up. They'll offer him a sweet 5-year deal, X amount of money, promising that they'll use him, and they'll go right back to using him the way that they're doing now. Yet I'm supposed to be excited for John Morrison. What makes you think Vince is going to look at John Morrison and not look at EC3? Impact champion. He made a name for himself everywhere else in WWE after leaving in 2011. He was pretty much Lucha Underground. He was a mainstay on Impact Wrestling. He worked everywhere and everywhere. He worked with some of the biggest talent in the world, some of which are on WWE TV right now, and made a name for himself in this industry without the help of WWE. Yeah, they got his career started, but he knew he could do better. He wanted to challenge himself and push himself to be a better pro wrestler for when he comes back. But do you honestly think WWE is going to take someone with the skills and the talent of John Morrison and utilize them the way that they should be utilized? The answer is no. The answer is no. Things are not looking up. Things are not getting better. This is just another signing for the WWE for the sake of another signing. AEW would have been a much better home for John Morrison, but who am I to say how much money he makes? He's going to go to WWE and make his money. Maybe he realizes at the age of 40 that he wants to settle down in 5 years, 6 years, and retire and have a kid with his wife. And he wants to be set. And he wants his family to be set. Maybe that's why he signed with the WWE. And if that's the case, God bless you. I can't tell you what to do with your money. I am just giving you my perspective from what I've seen with all the talent that we see on a weekly basis. Fucking killed. Their momentum stifled. Their talent's not being utilized. Morrison's going to fit into that group, into that boat of guys that are so incredibly talented and not being utilized correctly. Look at Shelton Benjamin. Do you guys even realize he is still employed by WWE? Do you realize how good Shelton Benjamin can still be? Yeah. Yet I'm supposed to be excited about John Morrison. Give me a fucking break. Now, the best thing to do with John Morrison, I don't know how they even introduce him. I don't even know how they introduce him. I would say put him in the mid-card on Monday Night Raw. I really would. Or if you want to put him on SmackDown, Miz is on SmackDown, right? Pair him with the fucking Miz. Miz and Morrison Tag Team Championship run. I think that would be great. And it's something that you can play for a couple of months. You could do for half a year. And it could be something if you want to use Morrison to turn Miz heel again, because I think Morrison's going to be incredibly over. If you want to put him on SmackDown, pair him with The Miz, give them a short run with the tag team titles, and then use Morrison to turn Miz back into a fucking heel so he can get away from this babyface garbage that he's on right now. I think that would be a great way to go about things. Or if you want to put him on Monday Night Raw, I think he could light the mid-card on fire, but I'm going to go right back to what I've been repeating myself on. I don't see anyone on that roster currently being booked creatively in the right way. Yet I'm supposed to be excited about John Morrison. WWE will do everything to stifle and kill John Morrison before they let him get up off the ground. I am not excited about this whatsoever, simply because I know how this company operates, and you should as well. Dio Maddin. Dio Maddin. This is the last thing we will talk about today. I know it's a short podcast, shorter than usual on Friday, but not a lot of news going around. Dio Maddin. We now have an answer on the whereabouts of Dio Maddin. On November 4th, 2019, Monday Night Raw, WWE Champion Brock Lesnar brutally attacked Dio Maddin and put him through the commentary table with a devastating F5. Now, Maddin has not been seen on any of the last 5 episodes of Monday Night Raw. Now, we all thought that he was selling the attack. Week 1, he sold the attack. Week 2, he sold the attack. I would even go week 3 and him selling the attack. And then I got to week 4, and then I started to scratch my head and think a little bit. This is not in WWE's vocabulary, man. The word logic does not exist to these people. So WWE doesn't use logic. They don't really build storylines and try to create realism. So by week 4, I'm like, okay, Dio Maddin is not in the commentary position because Vince McMahon just doesn't want him there. He was not selling the attack by week 4 or week 5. Nobody mentioned Dio Maddin. Now, Ryan Satin, on the loser sheet on WWE Backstage, said the company has decided to permanently remove Dio Maddin from his position as Raw color commentator. And the reasons are, Maddin will instead not want to do commentary. It was reported that it was his decision to return to the Performance Center and train to become a WWE superstar. This means he will no longer be on the road with the Raw roster. With regards to a replacement, Satin said that Samoa Joe will be filling in for Maddin until he is ready to return to the ring following an injury. Samoa Joe has done a stellar job replacing Dio Maddin. I think he's probably the highlight of Monday Night Raw, and it helps when somebody who is as legit as Samoa Joe, who you hear speak, even when he's on the program in the middle of a storyline, he speaks, you stop, you listen. Same thing when he speaks on commentary. You listen to what Samoa Joe is going to say. Plus, he's an active in-ring performer. Who knows what's going on in that ring better than an active in-ring performer? Samoa Joe is great at what he does, and he could certainly find a new home for himself, a new role for himself when he does indeed hang up the boots. But the thing is, when you are too good at what you do and you're still an active wrestler, WWE might want to take you out of the ring because they don't have any fucking plans for you anyway, and they might want you to still continue to be in that role. So I hope that's not the case with Samoa Joe, because I think Samoa Joe has a lot left to give on Raw, and they can certainly use a top-tier heel, because Seth Rollins ain't going to get it done. So I honestly was willing to give Dio Maddin a shot on the Raw commentary table. And I honestly think that when the weeks went on, we started to see him kind of get a little bit more comfortable in the role week by week by week. That first week, he barely said anything. Jerry Lawler took over for Vic Joseph and Dio Maddin because he was the guy who's held that position for many years with Jim Ross. And he was the veteran voice that everybody was going to kind of lean on, and they were going to feed off of Jerry the King Lawler. Vic Joseph has done a great job. He's come into his own. I started to see Dio Maddin open up a little bit and really start to give us his brand of color commentary. Now, I don't know why Paul Heyman wanted him on the Raw commentary team to begin with. It was more so of Paul Heyman wanting to give the show a fresh feel. Now, I don't know if Paul Heyman really did some research on Dio Maddin or if he heard Dio Maddin before bringing his name up to Vince McMahon and management for that specific position, but I don't know what happened. You know, Dio Maddin never really got a fair shot to show anybody what he can truly do. So, we heard this on WWE Backstage with Ryan Satin. I was willing to give him a shot. I knew something was fucked up. I knew something was not right with him being out all those weeks. He was no longer selling the injury. Something else was going on. And then when Ryan Satin reported this, I'm like, this has got to be bullshit. This has got to be bullshit. There's nobody listening to this guy who's not thinking the same thing I'm thinking, that Vince did not want him there. Now we got the news on Dio Maddin. And I don't know if Dio Maddin is going to appreciate this, or if someone's going to come out here and say that Meltzer and Alvarez are complete fucking liars and they're spreading their own agenda. But I believe every word that Brian Alvarez said in this report. Now, it was noted, WWE Backstage, Maddin wanted to be a pro wrestler. He's back at the PC. There appears to be more to this story behind Maddin's exit from the Raw commentary table. It is true that Maddin wants to wrestle, but what actually happened was Vince did not like his commentary work, according to Brian Alvarez on Wrestling Observer Live. Alvarez said, and I quote, "I don't know if Dio Maddin himself is going to get mad, but I'm sure we'll hear that this is not accurate, but this is what happened. Vince and Kevin Dunn didn't like Dio Maddin on commentary, and they took him off commentary, and I think they were going to try and retrain him or whatever to do commentary, but I guess he's decided he wants to be a wrestler again." End quote. Meltzer, or Alvarez rather, added on top of this, "I'm sure the official story is going to be that he just wanted to do wrestling and he didn't want to do commentary." That was it. So Alvarez personally said that he thought Maddin was fine, especially for someone who had limited experience. He was brought up to Raw at Paul Heyman's request. There's no word yet on who will be moved into Maddin's slot after Samoa Joe gets cleared to wrestle. I honestly hope that it remains a two-man booth. While you're at it, take Jerry Lawler out of there and put somebody youthful in that position. But the belief is that Joe should be cleared in a couple of weeks or so. Unless McMahon wants a two-man team, we may have to see someone new sitting next to Vic Joseph and Jerry the King Lawler in a couple of weeks. Well, if you want to kind of leave the main rosters equal and even, you do 2 men on SmackDown, which is just Corey Graves and Michael Cole, and then you do 2 men on Monday Night Raw, which could be Vic Joseph and Jerry the King Lawler, or if it's in my perfect world, get Jerry the King Lawler out of there and put somebody youthful in that position, which would have been Dio Maddin. Now, how can't you like Dio Maddin's commentary when he barely said anything? I really don't understand that logic. You gave this guy no room to work or grow. So who are you to say that you didn't like his commentary work when nobody truly knows what he's capable of on commentary? You're expecting this guy to swim in a role that he's obviously nervous about. Working for Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn's got to be a fucking hell of a job. And I mean that in the most worst way possible. Who the fuck can sit there and take the bantering and the yelling and the bitching and the complaining and the moaning and the stiff orders that they're giving you in the headset while you're relatively new like that? He's had some 205 Live role, right? He was doing 205 Live, but Adam Pearce is not Vince McMahon. Triple H is not Vince McMahon. He gives his commentators freedom. He gives his commentators room to grow. Maybe he just couldn't handle it. Maybe he just said, you know what? I don't want this anymore. I just want to go back and be a pro wrestler. That was the decision he came up with because of the reasons that I just gave you. Who wants to listen to that in your headset being as young and inexperienced as he is? He probably got turned off from the fucking position listening to these guys. So that's exactly what probably happened. But you didn't give him any time to grow. You didn't give him any opportunity to see what he can truly do. You killed him before anything. And you expected him to be this guy that you wanted from day one. How could you expect that from him? Does this company not understand giving people ample time to fucking grow? You can't make a decision on that in like 2 or 3 weeks. This guy was gone after less than a month. Now, this show needs a complete overhaul in every sense of the word. From commentary to just vibe, realism, coolness. This show needs a change in every single aspect. Everything. It's the same fucking show, muddied with a season premiere. It's all new, right? Paul Heyman's going to bring a new vibe to Monday Night Raw, yet we've seen nothing. And it goes to show you, it's funny how Paul Heyman's decision on certain things. How many of these guys on this roster have been Paul Heyman guys? How many? Humberto Carrillo? Dead. Cedric Alexander? Dead. Dio Maddin? Gone. Who's next? Aleister Black, Ricochet, Andrade. Buddy Murphy is another one. Buddy Murphy's the next to go. As soon as he loses to Aleister Black, Buddy Murphy's the next to go. Who's next after Buddy Murphy? Ricochet. You got the War Raiders. I'm assuming they're Paul Heyman guys, right? AOP, probably Paul Heyman guys. Paul Heyman has a lot of influence on this show, but every single time Paul Heyman has tried to institute someone or something on this show, it has failed. You look at the Monday Night Raw era under Paul Heyman, his influence, right? And Vince McMahon saying that he's going to remove himself from the weeds and let the creative process flourish under his new executive directors, right? How many of these executive directors truly have influence? Bruce Pritchard? Absolutely none. I mean, for Christ's sakes, we're getting Roman Reigns versus Dolph Ziggler tonight in the main event. Another main event I will not be watching. And Paul Heyman's influence has failed at every twist and turn and decision on Monday night. It's just hand in hand with exactly what I said all those many months ago in the summer when Vince said exactly that. And these positions were given to both Heyman and Bischoff. Nobody's going to make a goddamn fucking change on this show. The only change that needs to happen is Vince McMahon truly stepping away. And if Vince McMahon truly had no decision on this show, Dio Maddin would still be a part of the commentary team. I don't know. Corey Graves, to end this podcast, Corey Graves on After the Bell, he said about Samoa Joe, he said that he is awesome. It is surprisingly hard for a lot of superstars to transition into commentary because it goes against what you're taught. It's sort of a selfish business where you're about promoting yourself and talking about everything relating to yourself and your point of view. So to be able to break that into basically 2 nights on commentary, Samoa Joe could be the WWE's answer to Tony Romo. Everyone's in love with his perspective. I think it's refreshing. Samoa Joe is great. Personally, as one of my longtime friends, he is one of the most talented human beings that I know. He is entertaining and incredibly smart. Not to mention, complete badass in the ring. Selfishly, I'm hoping Samoa Joe gets a world championship run, at least before he decides to step out of the ring for good. That's where Graves and I agree. I don't believe there is a transition in the works, but damn it, if Joe needed to prove to anybody he's done so in a very emphatic way, Samoa Joe on commentary, one day I hope to verbally spar with the dude. Physically, he has me beat up enough he has beat me up enough in the past. And that is what Corey Graves says on Samoa Joe, but it's very unfair that Vince and Kevin Dunn, it goes to show you how much of a cancer they both are to the overall shows on Monday and Friday night. There is no change. Dio Maddin, whether you want to agree with me or not, is absolutely 100% going against the grain on what we usually see on Monday night. He is. Dio Maddin, in his name and in his being, him as a performer, is change. What do you think it looks like from an outsider's perspective, like me, or you, listening to me? What does it look like when Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn single-handedly remove Dio Maddin because he doesn't fit into their mind frame of what Monday Night Raw should be? So who wants true change? Everybody but Vince and Kevin Dunn. They want Monday Night Raw to remain bland, formulaic, and a show that resembles every single week that we've seen prior, with no true change. Dio Maddin, whether you want to agree with it, was at least just visually change on this show. How do they think of change? Fuck change, says Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn. Guys, I'm getting out of here. Thank you all so very much for joining me on part 1 of the podcast. I will have more from after the bell. We got Corey Graves speaking on Charlotte Flair, and I honestly think Graves kind of hit a few points on after the bell. I didn't listen to it. I just heard the clip on the YouTube channel. He hits on a few points on Charlotte Flair where I honestly can sit down and 100% agree with his take on Charlotte Flair. We'll go over that on tomorrow's show. Also lined up for part 2, we got Daniel Bryan and the backstage process about how he vouched for Kofi Kingston to be in the WWE Championship match at WrestleMania. Why Big E had a problem with Kofi dropping the title to Brock Lesnar in 7 seconds. Why WWE didn't punish Corey Graves over the Mauro Ranallo situation. And the big one, guys. Don't have a lot of news on it, but it's a big one. WWE has finally urged Jeff Hardy to get serious health issues addressed. We're going to go over that and what Vince McMahon's reaction to the Lana, Bobby Lashley, and Rusev angle from Raw meant to him, his reaction to what happened with the arrest on Monday Night Raw. Guys, hit that thumbs up. If you enjoyed anything on this particular episode of Off the Script, hit that thumbs up. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That's on Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. Go check out Harry's for all your gift-giving needs, man. Give the gift of Harry's. Harrys.com/script. You're going to get $5 off the holiday gift set and free shipping up until December 16th. Make sure you guys go and do that for me. It's a great way to support the show. I don't do that just for anybody, man. I do that for you guys, and it's a great way when you show love to the sponsors, you show them how powerful we are as a community and as a podcast. So make sure you guys go and do that. Harrys.com/script this holiday season. And make sure you guys check out all the other content that you might have missed on the channel this week. Raw, Off the Script Elite, Dynamite, NXT. You got Off the Script this afternoon, and I'll see you guys right back here tonight for SmackDown on Fox. I'm dreading it, and Roman Reigns and Dolph Ziggler are in the main event. It may be an early night for yours truly on Friday night. Either way, I'll see you guys right here for SmackDown. Until then, guys, again, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys right back here tonight for SmackDown on Fox. See you then.